This is the Player 4 Podcast. Join us each week as we talk about video games, entertainment, and pop culture, and bring in guests from the Rooster Teeth community. Player 4 has entered the game. Hello and welcome to the Player 4 Podcast. We are your hosts, Tristan, aka Shagrazier, on the Rooster Teeth website.
Alex, aka Chaos Black 21.
And I'm Joseph, aka Jay Dunlap, on the same site.
Woo! We're doing things a little bit different this week. We're not live streaming, unfortunately. We've run into a bit of a hiccup between my move and Malachi.
Malachi's got stuff going.
Yeah, Malachi's got stuff going. Nobody else had the ability to stream. So, we're doing this one as a record, and then we'll upload it a little bit later.
We're going back to old school.
Old school. I'm not going to edit it. Freaking deal with it.
For the sake of full disclosure, I'm currently on my phone. Tristan sounds like a public place, but it could be someone's watching a TV show, and he's on a touch screen laptop, and then we've got Alex in his normal setup. So things will not sound perfect, but we've got plenty to talk about, and we will be quick with it.
Yeah, no, I'm not in a public place. I'm actually in a private room. It's just about a 9x9x9 box, and it's got no windows, and I've got a big-ass fan just exhausting air out through an open door.
That would do it.
That is why...
That's a very powerful fan.
It's not. It makes it so I don't die. It makes it so I don't die at night.
You gotta stay cool.
Yeah. It's awful. I cannot wait for this. I cannot wait to be done here, but I'm not done here until September 1st, and it's going to be a big pain. Yeah, it's going to be a big pain from here until there, because it's about a 40-minute walk from here to the train station. And then it's an hour to an hour and a half on the train. It's about an hour and 10 on the train, I think, if I get the express train. And they need me to start work at 8 a.m. on the Monday after RTX.
So you have to leave early. Which, speaking of RTX,
it's gonna be RTX next week.
Yeah, so it's our annual RTX Hype podcast.
Oh, yeah.
There's some changes this year. What has been in the past. Changes is Tristan has to leave early because of his new job. And then Joseph, what's your news?
Are you talking about how I'm not going?
Yes, Joseph is not going. Sad, sad. However, you are going to see us when we're all get there and when we all leave, right?
It's a rough plan that I might do one or the other or both. I might just come in on Wednesday and play Jackbox with you guys.
That's cool.
Jackbox,
I just want to see your face.
Jackbox.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't even thought about it because I'm going to a Magic tournament this weekend and I don't get back till Monday night. And that's where my brain is. Plus, I've got 2 trips for next month for judging. So it's been really crazy lately.
I mean, as long as they're paying the bills, right?
I mean, they are. They're hopefully by the end of the summer we'll be really close to being out of the red. Just because I don't get paid enough. And also, Gina's a student, but we're getting there. And we've been really smart this summer with finances and everything. We splurged today and got some Chinese and some McDonald's, and I ate an entire container of sesame chicken before I realized what had happened.
Oh no!
I feel like a stuffed turkey waiting to go in the oven. But yes, I do plan on coming to see you guys on Wednesday of next week.
All right, cool. And, Wednesday I'll be around. See, I have to leave on Sunday, so if you were coming in that day, I'd be like, no, I'm gonna miss you.
I actually didn't know because I haven't been keeping up with chat because of said busyness.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
before we go any further, I do want to mention we have 3 more topics for the episode. We're going to wrap up our conversation on RTX excitement.
Okay.
I did throw in our second topic as Ficus because I want to know if either of you know things about Ficus or want to just give us the short history of Ficus.
Yeah, no,
This
that's a
is
good
what it's
idea.
there
Hold
for.
on, let me get that typed up here. Doing it live.
And then number 3, Sugar Pine 7 news that I'm going to provide because I haven't been on the podcast in a while. And then number 4 is a bit about RT animation and a thing that happened with Glassdoor.
Oh,
So
yeah,
go
that was
ahead
a
and
fun
continue
one.
with your.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Because it plays right into some conversations we've had on this podcast.
It does. If you wouldn't mind there, Alex, starting up talk about how the ficus thing goes while I get these typed up, because only having a mouse
Sure.
or a keyboard makes it a little bit slow for me.
Well, are we finished talking about RTX? Because
No, go ahead and
just
talk
in
about
general.
RTX.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Well, so Tristan and I are coming in Tuesday, however, at different times.
Yeah, it's
For
sad.
thing because we used to come in on Wednesday.
Things
But he's
change.
typing, so I'm gonna keep emceeing. Yeah, so I wanted to go in a day early because I wanted to try to see more people in the Austin area, if they actually want to see me. I haven't actually talked to anyone to be like, hey, you want to meet up? But, I figured that would happen in a few days, when it's like imminent. Again, I would reveal who I have. The PA team leads have said that we should actually remain quiet this time.
Oh.
Yeah. So I won't say who it is, though. It's okay. I don't think I'm going to be overwhelmed this year, so I'm looking forward to it again. And be a tech guardian again.
Yes, I'm going to be a Tech Guardian again. Tech Guardian is going to run a little differently this year, as they announced they publicly announced that there wasn't going to be constant streaming of every room, as there has been previous years, and there's been a little bit of internet backlash about that. So we'll see how that all unfolds. We're still getting orders, but we're dealing with a bit of a smaller team, and a lot of that is related to our reduction in duties.
Yeah. Is a community corner in the expo hall where I believe people of the community will get to display like all the awesome, amazing stuff that they've created, and I guess sell it as well. Pretty cool. I want to check that out when I get the chance to. Got the community panels, which I believe people are trying to coordinate so that those, since not going to be streamed, recorded by other community members, so that then the community can watch them when at their leisure, whenever they get them up. So that's cool.
All of the leisure.
Another World Community Summit thingamajig is happening. That's going to be like a yearly thing now, which is cool because we need to get the RT community back up to what it was. Started using the new community part of the site. I've made a few posts. Some people like Joseph and Tristan, but they haven't gotten back on, so they haven't followed me.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's
Yep,
been a while since I've been on. I'm sorry.
I don't blame you. I hadn't been on for a while either. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back on. I'm gonna try to start using it, see if other people are on it. And so I've made essentially 2 or 3 posts.
I'll be honest, I forgot about it.
I
Which it's just
I
it's a
I don't.
sign of how unfortunate it was that this entire thing happened with the site several years ago when the podcast was still a baby podcast.
Yeah.
That they had us for close to a decade on that site, just all of us, everyone, as soon as we got there, just spending hours a day, hours a week on there interacting. And the moment it died, essentially, with the new iteration that wasn't community focused, that was it. Like, I have to say that was it, because there's a site now and we forget it exists.
It's true. I used to spend a lot of times watching videos, and part of that is because I was then like doing stuff on the community side. Well, now that the community side isn't there, I don't go as often to go and watch videos either.
And
I
they spent a
remember
long.
back in the day where that was how you would watch Red versus Blue, and not only that, you didn't have access to the high res videos unless you were a sponsor.
The good old days.
Sorry, Tristan.
No, you're fine. The point that I was making was that we've waited so long for the social side of the site to come on because they were devoting all of that time and energy to making the video player side, as perfect as they can get it. And I haven't gone to check it out myself. I was never a big watcher of the videos on the site.
I think a big thing also is that they made mention of it last year at RTX with Community Summit, how releasing a beta and doing all that. We haven't really heard much about it since then, so I don't know if they're going to release more information here after this next Community Summit. But I think that's another problem, is that you heard about it at the Community Summit and that was just back below the radar again.
Mm.
That's our RTX. Yeah, I can't wait. I've been waiting all year. Of all time. Ficus. Tristan, what is the ficus?
It is a fake tree that they use on the set of several RT shows, and it tends to make the rounds, as it were, as part of RTX. It's become kind of a tradition that at some point during the show, the ficus will appear on the show floor, either in a panel room or out on the out in the open, and then every team tries to be the one in control of the ficus at the end of the show, and the point of it is to keep it moving around the show floor so that everybody, guardians and guests get kind of a chance to, have that moment of, I saw the ficus.
Yeah, it used to be strictly a guardian thing. And like out and Ficus had its own Twitter account then, kind of got the attendees and general public into it. Some people don't care for the Ficus. They don't care for the game of the search and find the Ficus and try to take it from other Guardian teams. The PA, I don't. It's like I don't have anywhere to put it, even if I had it. So it's kind of like but I'm not gonna like try to go for it at all.
I see. You still doing the like the charity gala, like the side quest stuff?
I don't know. I wanted to do the charity gala on it, but the problem is, like, it seems like there was myself, and as a person that isn't the greatest at conversation, I don't normally just go up and introduce myself to new people. having as many people that I already know there kind of put a damper on it. And I know it's for charity, and I'm all for it, but I'm not a big fan of the fact that the charity gala was the price of a whole ticket for the whole weekend.
Bree's going to the gala though, I think, right? You'd still have her.
The problem is that I'd basically be hanging out with her the whole time, and I don't want to be like walking behind her the whole time while she goes and tries to chat with other people.
But then her friends become your friends. Win.
I'm still trying to decide. I mean, I don't think that they're sold out. Do it just because I like to see all the artwork and cool stuff that people have made and possibly bid and win them. This year was the first year I think I didn't win anything.
Oh. I've never won anything, so you had a streak of good luck in my opinion.
Well, one year I got 2 things.
So you had a streak of really good luck.
Yeah, I'm still kind of debating on doing it. 3 days to decide whether I want to do it or not.
I was actually kind of sad about side quest, partially because I got an email from the coordinator of Spectres saying, "Hey, we're going to be a lot more. We're going to have a much more select group this year of Spectres, and we're extending an invitation to you." And I had to say, "No, I'm not going to the entire event," but also because I was already considering not doing it because last year my experience consisted of a bunch of people I didn't know and Matthew. And so I would chat with Matthew and then I'd go back to doing my job and I
And
wouldn't see
me.
anyone I know.
There.
Apparently you were.
Okay. Okay, so clearly Alex is offended that I said I didn't see anyone I know. I'm not talking about the gala, even though at the gala I really didn't spend a lot of time interacting with anyone as much as I usually do. I mean, just over the weekend itself. In previous years, it's not just been our condo group that I know. It's been all kinds of people that we know from the community going. What comes to mind is the Dungeon Drunks group that used to be Glib Shark, and we used to hang out with them, and they would come, and then Rooster Teeth personalities or like JJ would come and grab my butt and stuff like that. And now this last year when I went, it was the most boring thing for me because I was doing my job and I enjoyed that and enjoyed the Spectre team. I didn't really know anyone most of the weekend. It was the weirdest thing. And I think that's good for them. There is sort of a revolving door sort of idea. They get new people every year because they've done it a few times and now they want to try something else. So it gives more people time to more opportunity to experience it. But for me, I've been a Spectre almost every year that I've gone to RTX, and this year, and this doesn't happen as a Guardian, but it happens as a Spectre as people decide I'm not going to do this, I'll do this other thing, like the concerts and the charity events that Rooster Teeth does. So that's where I'm at with side quests. Is if I go to RTX next year, I might just go as an attendee and see what it's like, but I may be done as a Spectre.
That's part of it. Is now Rooster Teeth themselves are like, we're gonna have all this stuff on Thursday. We're gonna call it first night. All like the new like season premieres, the series premieres, and we're gonna have like achievement hunter stuff and all that. And so a lot of people up because a lot of people who have maybe done the charity gala and like they're like, okay, I've done it a few years. I want to see this live because I haven't seen it.
I remember when back before RTX, Rooster Teeth, all of them did anything official on Thursdays. The only thing was the go karts thing that Jack was doing. We had a thing that SideQuest did before SideQuest started, which was weren't they the ones that organized it? Was the screening of the community videos?
That was
And
that
we had
one
our
year they
best of.
had the community videos that you could submit.
And we had our best of P4 podcast because we were a baby podcast, and that was one of the funnier videos of the day.
Man, I went back through our library recently through our playlist on YouTube, and I went and found specifically our RTX panel and that video. They hold up.
I'm of the opinion that we did a good job. It was unfortunate the following year that we didn't get the option to do it again because I thought we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. I had a blast. I think the people that came to the panel had fun with it. So yeah, if only we could have done it again. But I just the fact that we were able to do it once.
Disconnected. I'm sorry.
You're fine. So yeah, we kind of got off topic a little bit with the Ficus, but
It's okay.
the Ficus is a Guardians worship. Well, some Guardians do, some Guardians don't.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
kind of a cult religion, isn't it?
yeah, but we have fun with it. Next, we have some Sugar Pine 7 stuff that Joseph wants to discuss with us.
Yeah, I realized I was muted. Sorry. I'm all kinds of trouble. So I've been a fan of Sugar Pine 7. I even talked about them on the podcast before, ever since a few months before they won their Streamy Award, and it has come to an end. So Sugar Pine 7 was born out of the ashes of SourceFed, as were several other projects, but they were one of the first to really break away. Philip DeFranco was already sort of independent from it. And it shortly after it started off as sort of joke vlogs, it found its footing and became an actual series, a YouTube channel that was quite popular and hit 1 million views, and then sort of peaked there. And shortly after, before they even won their streaming, Rooster Teeth set about to acquire them. They started off in a partnership over that summer, 2 years ago, and then not that long after they got their streaming, Rooster Teeth went ahead and acquired them. They even had plenty of videos, quote unquote, documenting it, where Steve sold the company for like half a Bitcoin or something, and he was talking to Jeff about it. And since then, they were around then they were doing storylines. They started storylines, and they went into this whole storyline people weren't really enjoying in season 2. It was entirely fictional, not like the rest of the show, which is also entirely fictional, and eventually came back to the classic sort of style of video, which is just them messing around. And then they moved in the Funhouse office. So last summer when we all hung out at RTX, I was showing some of the Funhouse collabs that they did. Like they did dodgeball with the Funhouse guys in one of their videos, and they found a way to sort of incorporate the Funhouse team into their videos as unique characters with different personalities, I would say, than they have in their actual videos. And then things sort of started to die down, and they weren't really growing over the past year. And about 6 months ago, they revealed that about 6 months ago they were starting to lose their passion for the project. Their views were tanking, and Rooster Teeth was basically saying, if this can't be fixed, then we're going to let you go.
Yikes.
So eventually, about a month ago or so, things just reached an all-time low, and then Rooster Teeth let them go. They're still partners with them, but the show is over. None of them have a passion to continue the show. 10% of their work time was making videos, and the other 90% was doing stuff they don't like doing, like editing videos and writing and planning and PR and whatever else it is that they do. So they're all splintered off and doing their own things now. James is working on his music. Kib, I believe, has a opportunity at some other studio. Steve is getting into animation. Autumn had already left them to go work for another branch of Rooster Teeth as an editor. And then Jamie and Mimi are both seeking employment right now. Jamie has a project that he's working on the side, and they also recently broke up. So things are all kinds of out of whack for Sugar Pine 7.
Yeah, I remember you showing the dodgeball uh, video, and I think there was a few others. And it's like I kind of enjoyed it, but at the same time, some of their stuff, um, it just wasn't my cup of tea. I think the best part for me of the videos that you showed and that I saw was when Steven was essentially monologuing like stuff. I thought that was probably
That is
my
by
favorite
far the best.
parts.
It's the best aspect of it is Steve's little voiceovers,
Hmm.
because they'll record their clips and whatever, and it's planned out but also improvised in the what is it, Curb Your Enthusiasm style.
Hmm.
And then Steve will come in with voiceover that he and James have written that will sometimes make it even funnier because he'll make up random facts about someone based off of some little thing they did. Like he looked confused because he had never learned how to read and things like that.
Hmm.
I appreciate their humor. I've sort of fallen off watching YouTube for the past half year or so, so I am ashamed to say I'm part of the problem, I suppose. I enjoy it, the spontaneous nature of it, but I really did enjoy their videos the most when they were teaming up with Funhouse. So
Yeah.
that's what's going on with that.
They're
I
not
guess
even
we'll segues, unless anyone has
first
questions.
the first group that's kind of fallen off either. I believe it was I think I think it was Cow Chop that isn't they're kind of going away as well.
Really?
Yeah, I
Forgot
think I
it.
did hear
I
about
gotta
that.
be honest, I never knew what they did.
I know I never got into Cow Chop. I never looked at any of their stuff, but it's always kind of like sad when you see like them bring in all these people and then like all of a sudden next thing you know they're not around anymore.
You know, the weird thing to me is that they bring on these different groups like Funhouse and Cow Shop and Sugar Pine 7 that were already pre-established, and then they sort of bring them into the fold and let them continue to do their thing. But it's clear that they're never quite as important as Rooster Teeth proper, in a way that I can always see on the Twitter account for Rooster Teeth what they're up to in the Austin office, what videos they're working on, and what's going on their YouTube channel.
They,
And then I don't know anything about Cow Chop, and I don't watch Funhouse, so I don't. And social media doesn't tell me what they're up to because the Rooster Teeth account, which should be the umbrella corporation, is only publicizing what the Austin offices are doing.
they're not sharing that limelight. They're not really treating them like part of the company. They're a side thing.
Well, I
And
mean,
I
each
wouldn't care
one
about
has
that.
its own Twitter too. Like
Yeah,
Achievement Hunter has its own Twitter, Funhouse has its own Twitter, and all that. So you would have had to have gone to like those specific Twitters.
Yeah, but I
yeah,
mean, I
and that
think I
wouldn't
see.
matter
Oops, sorry.
except you acquire this company and then you want them to grow with your resources, but you're not giving them anything else. So then they're basically confined to their audience, except if anyone joins their audience as a result of being Rooster Teeth fans. That's it. It's just like residual growth as opposed to actually gaining more than just their resources, but actually their actual social media clout.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I could see that because it seems like it does kind of seem like Rooster Teeth. I mean, obviously, Achievement Hunter was Rooster Teeth until they got a new name, like their own name. So obviously, they're going to be close together, and then somehow Funhouse kind of joined in from outside Rooster Teeth, and they somehow kind of became like the triangle, and then everybody else, it just seems like is like essentially in the background.
It just seems like a poor business decision, and I'm not a business person, so what I'm saying right now is completely out of my rear end. A poor business decision to acquire a property and then not develop it. If I were to buy a local donut shop and then never set foot in the store and then expect their sales are going to increase when I have done nothing to grow them outside of maybe, well, I can give you more money. Would that help you grow? But then I've got this huge business somewhere else in the city that has this like huge following. You can elevate both properties by elevating both properties.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's where I'm at. And it's not so much I blame Rooster Teeth for Sugar Pine 7 not growing, because it's not their fault. Sugar Pine 7 sort of fell off. In fact, it could all come from a lack of passion for the project, and eventually they were going to quit anyway. It's not so much how dare Rooster Teeth be responsible for them not growing, because it's not their fault they didn't grow, but they could do more for companies that they buy, production groups that they buy. If they want to see them grow, they have the tools to direct traffic that direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's all there is to say about that before we move on to our final, possibly most controversial topic. And I think we should approach this from a certain direction, which is simply to talk sort of rehash the topic we talked about a while back about burnout in game studios and animation studios. Tristan, what was the summary of that conversation that we had before?
The summary there would be that there were a bunch of big AAA game studios that were pushing their programmers, their designers, really to the end of their rope, trying to get things out, and they weren't budgeting their time well. So what was ending up happening was huge amounts of crunch time where people weren't really getting paid, because salaried employees generally don't get paid overtime. You're getting a lot of unpaid time and a lot of work and a lot of stress in the final stretch of production for a game known as crunch, and it's very prominent throughout the industry. It's been almost an industry standard for decades, where you expect that every project is going to enter a crunch time where almost everything's where it needs to be, but everything needs to be done by a certain date.
So that leads us to this final topic. And I want to preface this by saying that Rooster Teeth is taking steps to address the issue.
Yes.
Matt Hullum posted a journal on the community site. So yes, Alex, I've been on the community site one time.
Woo!
I read that article as well.
They're going to hire someone that can adequately manage the resources within the animation department. However, the topic we're about to talk about is what happens when a small, basically indie company hires more and more industry professionals in the animation area, but does not have someone in the leadership role who has been in the industry. Tristan, you want to take this one? You seem the most knowledgeable on the topic.
Um, well, I did do a little bit of research into it, and it seems like it was a story not unlike what we'd heard, in that between Ruby and Genlock, basically all of RT Animation, they started taking on more and more projects, and the projects started getting bigger and bigger, especially, since the switch over from Poser back to Maya for Ruby, and the addition of this very big, what's the word? High expectation, anyway, project in Genlock, is that you've got all of these design goals and production goals that need to be met by a certain time, and there hasn't been a good setup of we need to be here by now. They don't have a Gantt chart. A Gantt chart in industry is where you break up the project into steps, and you say this step needs to be done by here. It should take about this much time, and this step is going to take about this much time. These two steps can be overlapping because we have different teams for that, but they're both going to be done by here. And nobody was doing that. Everything was basically being managed, as far as I heard, by Mr. Gray Mardigan, and as nice a guy as he is always, huh?
Being Gray Haddock.
Gray Haddock? Who is Mardigan then?
Well, I think that's his Twitter handle.
Right, so that's why I get confused, because that's what I see is Gray Mardigan.
It was
That's not
Gray
his
Haddock.
right. Okay, I don't know where that other name exactly came from, so I apologize. Gray Haddock, thank you. Was managing everything, and every time I've seen him, he seems like an enthusiastic, excited, and friendly person. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be a good manager, because while you want your manager to be friendly, you also want them to be goal oriented and be able to set up a timeline and make sure that things are getting done on time. Because when you're not, then everything. This takes this much time, this takes that much time. Sometimes it can't be helped, but then everything gets pushed to the end. And so they were having days and days and weeks upon weeks of crunch to try and finish the uh, uh, seasons of Ruby and Genlock, and this caused a lot of trouble for the animators, because then they would get stressed out. They would start to burn out from that, and effectively what we had been reading from Glassdoor was that the animators would go to their managers and say, I'm having trouble with dealing with this, with having to meet these deadlines, now, and I don't know what to do. And they were basically getting the, just buckle down, work harder, this is how it is, it's okay, just keep working at it. And it's like, that's not helpful. They were trying, the complaint was that they were trying to be sort of counselors and therapists when they're not qualified to do that, especially Mr. Haddock. And so the result was, as we read from Matt's journal, was that Gray was going to be stepping down as the director, so that they could get somebody who is a little more knowledgeable in how to time budget these projects. He's still going to be working with them in at least as far as a supervisory.
Was it like creative, like supervisory standpoint or whatever, like more creative?
Yeah, I think so. There's another word that I was looking for, but I can't think of it. The words that I want just keep leaving my head. Sorry. What about you, Joseph? What did you have on this? Did I hit all the points for you?
I mean, that's the long and short of it. It's sort of one of those things that never occurred to me. What's always been on my radar with Rooster Teeth production is, for years now, I've been concerned about mental health in their company, because they seem to glorify being workaholics while simultaneously not encouraging healthy workplace environments. So I've always been concerned about their mental health. And I wasn't even thinking about the animators. I was thinking about the people who edit their other shows, the live action stuff, and their writers. And I was pretty sure at some point someone was going to burn out or lose it or something. Unfortunately, so far the people that's happened to are people we didn't know anything about. We didn't know
Yeah.
their names. We didn't know who they were. And so now we've read these Glassdoor reviews, and I'm not surprised. I didn't expect it, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah. I mean,
Especially when you think about the fact that it's a company that was built out of people who. I mean, one of the reviews said you're no longer a few guys in a living room playing Halo. That's kind of like, it's a mean way to put it, but they're probably very upset when they say it. So they're coming from a place where they probably get to say it. But so the idea that this company comes out of nowhere, out of nothing, with guys who their primary expertise is creative, being able to write and then voice act, and then find someone who can edit. Okay, we've got to edit it, it's done. To now, here we are 15 plus years later, and we're hiring professionals out of the animation industry, but the management hasn't changed. So imagine being in the shoes of one of the animators, where you're hired to work at this company that puts out great work, and you've been part of the industry, and you know what the standards are, and you know what the pay should be and what the work conditions should be. And then here you are working at this company where everything is topsy turvy, and the people running the animation department have never been in the industry. I can imagine what that would be like in music terms, at least. It's not a pretty picture. So it's a good step in the right direction that this is being addressed. It's just unfortunate that it took all this for them to realize what was actually happening. And I'm not going to begrudge change. Change is change. It's good. So, better later than never, right? That's kind of where I'm at. Anything you want to add, Alex?
No. You guys, how I would say, just much more eloquently.
Nailed it.
That's good to know. I just thought I was rambling.
I mean, I ramble. We all ramble. Let's see, where are we at? 40 minutes. So I think we can. If there's not more to say on that, then I think we can safely get the flip out of here.
I've got nothing more to say on it because I don't want things to be negative at the end of the episode, and I don't want to turn this into a complaint about Rooster Teeth episode.
Yeah,
because we still love Rooster Teeth.
we do.
Well,
And that's a good point to make before we leave out of this, because you criticize the things you love because you know they can be better. This isn't to say that they're bad. This isn't to say I hate them and they need to stop. This is I love them and I know they can be better, so they should be better.
Exactly.
Oh, it's like kids. I love you, and I want what's best for you.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. Tristan, I thought that was a joke for the longest time, and now I understand.
It's not. Disappointed is so much worse.
Yeah.
I understand now, as a parent, what it means to be disappointed but not angry.
Yeah, I had to switch it around when I was younger too. I'm not disappointed. I'm just mad.
I mean, sometimes you're mad.
Yeah, sometimes you're mad. All right, now we've got a lighter note. Let's get the flip out of here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, plus the lighter note is RTX.
RTX next week.
Woo!
So we'll be
And
off
our
that
normal
week.
recording
Don't
date
expect
will be
a broadcast then either.
Yup.
We'll be all partying it up in Austin because it sounds like Joseph's going to be there Wednesday.
But and there won't be a D&D stream next week either.
Nope.
But you can always just go through our channel on YouTube and check out all our archives from the podcast and Tristan's very successful D&D campaign, for which there will be music soon.
Music! I'm so excited.
What? Yay!
So excited. More news on that upcoming in a later podcast. Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Hashtag goodbye.
Bye.
I had to make
close. I was saying like, do it, Tristan. Do it.
I had to make you wait. I had to.
I'm so angry.
That's a secret.
You need to say it now.
That's a secret. He always needs to say it.
You need to say the hashtag.
Can't do it.
Hashtag goodbye.
Hashtag hello?
So, Alex, out of curiosity, at some point in recent months, I was like, okay, what is Alex quoting with "put the cookie down, those are my tortillas"? So I actually found both those clips.
Yeah.
There you go. Now you know.
That's what I realized. That the joke was you put two things together.
Yes.
Oh, I did.
It's the little tortilla boy.
Little tortilla
down.
boy.
These are my tortillas.
Those are my tortillas. Get down.